Money and the money. Money and the money.
Hello everyone and welcome to Money Talk by Money Party. Money Party, literally the best group ever. I will be your host, S. Cameron Shillderberg from the Shillderberg Group, and our guest today is Makoto Takemiya from Soramitsu. Welcome, Makoto.
That's great to be here. So do you have any plans, Mr. Shillderberg, to change the group name to Based Money Party now that I'm here?
Well, you know, it depends how based you make it.
As based as you want it. I really like the dollar bills flying around. It's got the vibe.
Well, I tell you what, mate, without money, there's no party. And without party, there's no money. Hence the name, Money Party. And thank you very much for joining. You know, we're very glad to have you as a member of Money Party. It is an exclusive club, and I'm very honored that I made the grade. And I guess, you know, with esteemed members like you, we've got nothing but a fantastic future. Speaking of future, I notice you're coming from Neo Tokyo. Is that correct?
This is Neo Tokyo, yeah. So the future is already here every day. Japan is from the future.
You run a financial technology business. I heard a lot about it. It's backed by quite a few sort of big zaibatsu bigwigs. Tell us more about this cyberpunk elite that have created your company.
So our company was founded actually here in Neo Tokyo in 2016, and so we've been around for a little bit over 4 years now, which is like dinosaurs in this crypto space. But it's been quite a wild ride. Some of my co-founders worked at Deloitte, and others helped with investments, and I think we were able to really build a very nice global and well-balanced team. So I'm pretty happy with the journey that we've come on since we first started.
Yeah. So when did you first start? I mean, Bitcoin was invented in Japan, right? So where were you when Bitcoin was invented?
I actually was in Japan. I was working at the NEC research lab in Kansai doing my master's thesis. And actually, I don't tell this story to too many people because it's a little sad. But I wrote a web crawler that went and downloaded tens of millions of websites, and this extracted this text information to do my master's thesis. And one of the pages I downloaded and just randomly saw through my random inspection of the articles was an article about Bitcoin into like right after Satoshi had released the white paper. I think somebody posted it on some forum or something. And I was studying economic causality, and so I was downloading all these economic terms, and that's how I found it. And I read this before, you know, Bitcoin was even out, but I thought, you know, this is nonsense. Like, why do you want a one world currency to enslave us all? That was my initial thought in 2008.
Oh, okay. Likely story. So you're trying to say that you didn't create Bitcoin?
Yeah, but I was in Japan at the time, which is kind of an interesting coincidence.
Yeah. I heard a lot about the Japanese firm Mt. Gox. Sounds pretty good. What's your take?
So I first got into Bitcoin as a user back in 2013, and my entry point was Magic the Gathering online exchange, which was a pretty cool exchange. You know, it said "Trade here with confidence." Like it had like a CNN logo next to that text, and then they gathering online exchanged everyone, and that was the end of that.
Oh, but, well, that's so. What happened to the Magic cards?
Yeah, like I bought all these Bitcoins thinking that, you know, I could get some elite like 4chan cred, but then like it didn't work out. So, oh well.
How many Bitcoin was a Black Lotus?
Yeah, I don't know. But actually, at the time, I was playing around with different trading bots. I wrote a bot actually to trade on the NASDAQ, but that was kind of like just a hobby. And then it didn't work out so well.
So we're talking 10 years ago, you're doing all this. And now you've created a fintech ecosystem with multiple high-level technologies. I heard about something called Hyperledger, Iroha. I've heard about the SORA app. So, how can you create so much tech in such a little time? And which one's the best one? And which one is going to make me rich?
Well, that's the question everyone wants to know, right? No, but actually, so tech is interesting. So I was a computer scientist by training, and I've always kind of been interested in tech. Even when I was a kid, I always I had like a web page and did like game reviews and stuff. But yeah, we have quite a lot of different tech. I think part of the reason we've done so much is because I'm really, I'm kind of, I kind of like to control the whole user experience from the end, from the base layer all the way up to the user-facing apps. And by building our own blockchain, which is Hyperledger Iroha, we're able to kind of have greater control over fine-tuning that experience. I don't think we've fully met our potential yet, but we're still working on this. Right now, we're building Iroha version 2, which is quite a significant upgrade in terms of our not only our technology, but also the state of the art in blockchain technology too. But Hyperledger is a semi-permissioned system. It's not really made to replace something like Bitcoin or something like that, but so in order to have it work on public networks like we're doing with SORA, you have to kind of modify the consensus algorithm in the way that you choose validators out of a potential set of validators. So
my friend just made a bunch of money. He bought a token called XOR, and it went to the moon. Now, I missed out. Now, was that you? Was that your token?
Well, it's I don't think anyone has a token, but yeah, that's the token that we created. But I think that yeah, the price I try not to look at too much, just because I think that the market is still immature and illiquid. But one of my KPIs is really the user base and also like how many people are interacting with the system. And yeah, over the last few months, we've seen some good increase in the community size, which I think is a very good, very good indicator of kind of growth of the project. So SORA is aiming to be a decentralized world economic system, which is kind of maybe a somewhat bold claim, but I do think we have a good chance to actually deliver on our goal because we've built a lot of the core technology. And we're trying to focus on the economics first to really make things as economically sound as possible. So we do a lot of simulation modeling to study like the system dynamics before we actually implement some of these token proposals. And we do quite a lot of public proposals as well with our community, where we post articles talking about the proposed economics and tokenomic changes, and then eventually the community will be asked to vote on these changes once we have a complete and clear picture.
All right, so you're building communities. You said SORA, it's an app. It's an app that I can use. Why are so many people increasingly joining and using this app?
Well, I mean, it's still a really small and niche community, but I do think that the narrative of kind of control over economics and be able to have a rational economic system that's also decentralized is really something that a lot of people find interesting, especially in years like this year, where we have because of the world economy, there's a fundamental break in a lot of monetary policy that is possibly not sustainable. We don't know what the limits are, but history tells us there are limits. So many civilizations and currencies have come and gone, and I do think we're at a critical turning point. Maybe not this year, but it is definitely an inflection point in the overall world economy, I think. So people who are kind of forward-thinking and smart kind of see these changes coming, and I think they're searching for new ways to do things, and SORA is one way to kind of offer that.
All right, so I'm going to tell you a secret. Ostrich eggs are big bucks. So I'm going to start an ostrich farm. How can I leverage the use of SORA app for my my getting rich quick?
So yeah, I mean, getting rich quick is of course what fundamental economic or sound economics is based on.
Great, good. I'm glad we agree on that.
But the key idea of SORA is that the way that you distribute money in an economy is really key to the world that you get. And so if you want to have something like an ostrich farm, after the version 2 release, you would propose to the SORA Parliament, which is a decentralized governance body. You propose your idea, and then they would actually hire other team to actually sit down and work on a report that has pros and cons for this. And then eventually it would be voted on by the parliament. And if it's voted on, then you would just get newly created tokens. There's actually, so we built the version 1 system, which is slightly, I guess, more primitive voting system, and that was released last year. But it's funded some projects, like we've done Noir, which is our cyberpunk hand-picked organic wine from California. You can get it.
All right, so this wine that you're holding in that can, let's see it again, that was made by people sending the Sora tokens through the Sora app.
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of a bootstrapped project, but the wine was actually made with the promise that they would get these tokens. And the economic theory is that if you increase the money supply or token supply in a crypto economic system, you have to have more products and services to counterbalance that. And this doesn't mean physical goods necessarily. It can be new types of products, like, for example, like a crypto exchange or like a game, a DeFi game. It could be any kind of thing. But if you increase money that should be circulated, you have to increase the use of the money.
All right, so more party, technically more money, right?
Yeah, so if you print money, you have to have more parties to consume that money.
All right, I like your thinking. So how about my ostrich farm? I can put that on the Sora app and get money.
Yeah, you could in theory propose that. And that's, you can't do it today because we're revamping the governance system. But after the version 2 launch, which will hopefully be end of this year, early next year, that type of thing could be done. All
right, so that's very soon. So you're saying you are upgrading from Sora 1 to Sora 2 at the end of this year?
We're trying to do it at the end of this year. So there's no promises when it comes to development, but yeah, we're doing our best.
All right, so what's the typical user of Sora?
Typical user is, I would say, someone who's kind of, it's still a small community, so it's really people who are deep into crypto and understand.
When you say small, how many are you talking? Like 20, 30?
I would say the total community size is around 4,000 to 5,000.
45,000. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
it's a lot of people for one room. Yeah.
They're not all in Telegram, but I would say that just based on the addresses that we have, it's roughly around that.
That's huge.
It's still pretty small compared to 7 billion, but
okay.
I would say the average person are people that are actually, a lot of them are kind of interested in kind of newer technologies like Polkadot or Kusama. So we're doing quite a lot with Polkadot ecosystem as well, and I think that's attracted some people. I think other people are also just just looking for new things in regards to economics and trying to get projects that are more sound. From my experience, it seems like a lot of these people who are in our community are a lot of them are fairly new to crypto. Like maybe they didn't go through the whole 2017 hype cycle. They kind of joined after that. That's just my feeling. We haven't done any surveys, but it's interesting. It's a very international community. We got the app translated into, I think, like around 10 languages now. So it's quite good.
So, I'm a big fan of, I haven't checked it in a few years, but MySpace is a big thing I've been sort of getting into, the social media thing. I went to Japan, they didn't have MySpace, so I made a Mixi account, right? But I heard the Mixi guy he's all in board on Sora, right?
The Mixi guy. Well, so Mixi was Batora-san. So he's not directly related to us. I've met him before in Tokyo, but Mixi goes back quite a ways. So people that are on our team are mainly from the financial sector. So people like a former executive of Nomura Securities and things like that. So there's different kind of enterprise style people like that. They don't do too much with Sora yet, but actually many of them are quite motivated to help when the time comes, especially if we can get build up the community some more.
So you have these giant Tokyo conglomerates that are all publicly associated with Sora. Can you list a few of them that have already sort of announced their support?
Well, to be more precise, they're associated with Soramitsu. So Soramitsu is of course our corporate company that does like development and consulting work. And Sora is a kind of like a decentralized project, and we're a dev partner for that. But we don't have to be the only people running it, of course. But yeah, for Soramitsu, mainly through our work in Hyperledger, we've gotten some good connections with Japanese corporations. And for example, when we created Hyperledger Iroha, we proposed it to the Linux Foundation along with NTT Data and Hitachi. And also an Israeli company too called Coalition.
So it's like NTT, who are the biggest telecom company in Japan, Hitachi, who make DVD players. Can you name drop like 5 or 6 more? I'm all about the name drop. Come on, let's go.
Well, if you check out our website, there's quite a lot of partners for Hyperledger Iroha. For Sora, it's a crypto economic system, so it's a little bit harder for companies to understand it. It's just the way it is. I do think that if we can actually be successful in bootstrapping the economics and providing a viable way to fund projects, that we could have more partnerships with that. But this is not 2017 where people get excited about partnerships. But
I'm getting excited about the partnerships. Yeah, I don't know. Speak for yourself, man.
Well, I'm always excited. I'm joking, but I think that really in today's market, fundamentals really matter, and so we try to focus on really the tech and actually building something that's meaningful and actually can logically work. So, for example, the new tokenomics system in Sora, we have some stabilization mechanism to help make the token semi-stable. It's not a stable coin, but it is kind of like supposed to be stable within a volatility band. And we do this by using a token bonding curve that does some market operations to make the supply elastic. So because of that, we can make the currency less susceptible to things like short selling or other types of market manipulation, which I think can make it more useful as a token. At the end of the day, we do want this XOR token to be, have some utility where it can power these different applications that fundraise potentially on the platform.
So I hear a lot about bondage all the time. What is a bondage curve?
Well, have you heard of Holochain? I'm joking, but
so what is a bondage curve, my man?
So a token bonding curve, or token bondage curve, is where it's a smart contract that takes as input some token and will give maybe some other token or even a group of tokens as output. And it can do the opposite too. If you put in a token, you can get back some other, what the initial input was, according to some rules. And this is just a mathematical function, and it usually is some kind of curve shape, and it can be any kind of curve shape. Like it could be sinusoidal, it could be just
a circle.
Well, a circle is not functional, but yeah, you.
All right, just right there, man. I've seen the ropes go round and round, but
I think we need more token shibari.
Yeah, we call it kimbaku, right? It's a Japanese word, right? So
nothing that doesn't come from Japan.
Yeah, anything that comes from Japan is good, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I tell you what, man. So you're talking more about the bondage curve. This means that you're saying that you can't just make more supply and dump it, right?
Yeah, so the supply is managed by a computer program, and so the rules are very clear. And I think that's really what people expect today. Like the whole former narrative of some type of like pre-mine or insta-mine, I think is pretty different. So in Sora, like we actually are changing the economic model partway through, which I think is a very bold and but meaningful change. It's still proposal phase, but there's quite good popular support for the proposal. But the idea is that we kind of take the old token and we kind of like, separate this economically from the new token, which is supposed to be somewhat stable-ish. But at the end of the day, the two should kind of work together too, because you want the community to be united really as one and to collaborate. And so that's kind of what we're doing in our design, is kind of like making this new version 2 XOR to be kind of stable-ish. And then the old token is more, it's kind of like a token that can accept some volatility, and then the market can determine the price. But long term, it has some deflationary mechanics.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a secret, man. See all these dollar bills? They're going down. Fiat, going down. That's what I heard anyway. I don't buy shit that's falling. You know what I'm saying? Your token, somebody told me, SORA means sky. Am I right?
It does mean sky. Actually, SORA is so Soramitsu, my company's name, actually means to see from the sky. It's from Japanese mythology, where the first emperor went up into the sky in a stone ship and saw the country really from space, because the gods took him up there, right? And then that's how it got the name Yamato. So it became a kind of a poetic term for the country of Yamato, Soramitsu Yamato no Kuni. But so Sora means sky. It can, depending on the kanji you use, it can have slightly different nuances as well. It could even mean like, space or other types of concepts related to the heavens, right?
That's fantastic, because, if the gods get this token and bring it right up to the sky, I'm going to be happy. You just make sure you let me buy it before they do it, mate.
Well, yeah, it's hard to buy because the markets are quite immature and illiquid. But I think that's something I don't really worry about too much. Actually, the lower the prices, the less stress on me. So I think it's
all right. Let's keep it low, and then I buy, and then we'll see. So let's sum it up. Some people tuning in late, they didn't get the start. All right. SORA, what is it? Why is it the future?
So SORA is a new world economic system, and it has its own kind of unit of account that's called XOR. And then I think this is going to be a powerful way to democratically allocate capital in existing economies around the world. I do want to kind of preface that by saying that I do think that kind of developing economies and smaller countries could benefit kind of immediately from something like this. I think there's a lot of potential. But yeah, that's the basic idea. We want to kind of democratize the allocation of capital and kind of create a decentralized economic system. Actually, if you read Satoshi Nakamoto's writings, he talks a little bit about how central banks have hurt the social contract by inflating the currencies, and then also he couldn't see a good way to create like a decentralized monetary policy. That's why he went with this kind of like this block reward mining that had a cap in the currency. But
so he's your friend, right? You and Nakamoto mates.
He's my homeboy.
Okay, got it. Yeah. That's right.
We go out and drink some sake. Yeah, I'm joking, but
got it. No, don't. Okay, yeah, joking. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, joking. Yeah. So joke. Yeah, good. Well, people like to skirt around the issue, but I mean, obviously, you were there. You're from the same hometown. It's not that many people, I'm guessing, over there. So you better probably see each other every day, right? But yeah. So we're in Money Party, right? How do the other Money Party members get involved in SORA?
Yeah, so we have a really cool chat. You can actually go to sora.org and we have a link to the chat, and you can join our chat. And actually, it's like a 24/7 AMA where people just ask me questions in the chat. And if I'm around online, I'll answer. We answer quite a lot of questions every day. But we do a lot of very serious discussion and memes. Memes are very important because memes create the reality that conception lags behind. So,
a very smart guy once told me money is a meme. If I knew what a meme was, then that would mean something. But
I'd rather have like Pepe stickers though than these falling $100 bills.
well, like maybe that's an idea for the future when there's this spin-off Pepe Party. We will see. So can we download the app? Can we start using it?
Yeah, the app is in a transitory state. I would say it still is for version 1, but there will be some benefits to using the app. Like you can use it to vote on the upcoming referendums, and it's just a way to democratize your voice.
And when you're done with version 2 of the app, what's next?
Version 2 should be quite an interesting change. So the new economic model will be built into the network. We're going to use Hyperledger Rawhide version 2, which should be a lot faster. And PokeSwap, which is a DEX kind of targeted in design for the kind of Polkadot ecosystem.
Wait, you made PokeSwap?
Well, not me personally, but my team is developing the code for the code base.
That sounds pretty cool. If I might ask you a bit about that later if you want to come back. I think we've got quite a few people in the text chat who want to ask some questions.
Cool.
I tell you what, you want to join us for a little text AMA for the next 10 minutes in the Money Party private group?
Cool. Yeah, it sounds good. So should we just do this in text or should we do it here in this Zoom?
We're going to go on to Telegram, but final voice question. Should I buy XOR?
Do your own research.
All right, love it. All right. Thanks very much, Makoto Takemiya. プログラムご参加いただきましてありがとうございます。
はい、どういたしまして。楽しかったです。
And the money and the money.